Mrs. Sterling walked to her window, looking out at the city below. Marcus, I've been running this company for 35 years. I've interviewed thousands of people, hired hundreds of employees, and built this business from nothing. But I've never met anyone who showed me their true character before they even knew who I was. She turned back to face him, her eyes bright with determination. The marketing coordinator position we discussed is still available, but I have a different offer for you. Marcus leaned forward, hardly daring to breathe. I need someone I can trust completely, someone with integrity and quick thinking. My current assistant is retiring next month, and I need someone who can eventually grow into a management role. The starting salary is $60,000 a year, with full health benefits and a clear path to advancement. Marcus felt dizzy. $60,000 was more money than he had ever imagined making. It was enough to pay his mother's medical bills, move them to a better neighborhood, and maybe even help him finish his business degree. Mrs. Sterling, I don't know what to say. Say yes, she smiled. But first, let me tell you why this matters so much to me. 40 years ago, I was a young woman starting my career in a man's world. I was walking to an important meeting when I collapsed on the sidewalk. I was diabetic and hadn't eaten all day because I was nervous. A young man stopped to help me when everyone else walked past. He missed his own job interview to make sure I got to a hospital. Mrs. Sterling's voice grew soft with memory. That man's name was Robert Johnson. He worked odd jobs to put himself through college, and he had a sick mother at home. Sound familiar? Marcus's mouth fell open. Johnson, that's my last name. Robert Johnson was your father, Marcus. After he helped me that day, I made sure he got a job with our company's accounting firm. He worked there for 15 years before he passed away. He used to talk about his son who was going to college, who was going to make something of himself. Tears streamed down Marcus's face as the pieces fell into place. His father had died when Marcus was 12, and his mother had always told him that his father was a good man who helped people. She had never mentioned the specific story about helping his future boss. Your father saved my life 40 years ago, and you saved it again this Monday. Some people might call that coincidence, but I call it destiny. Mrs. Sterling returned to her desk and pulled out a contract. This job comes with something else. Marcus, I'm getting older and I need someone to help me prepare for the future of this company. If you prove yourself over the next few years, I'd like you to consider becoming my business partner. Marcus could barely speak through his emotions. Mrs. Sterling, I accept. Thank you for giving me this chance, and thank you for taking care of my father all those years ago. Your father earned every opportunity he received, just like you're earning this one. Welcome to Sterling & Associates, Marcus. I have a feeling your journey here is just beginning. As Marcus signed his employment contract, he thought about his mother waiting at home, about the medical bills they could finally pay, and about his father who had set an example of kindness that echoed through generations. Sometimes missing an appointment leads to finding your destiny. The elevator ride to the 22nd floor felt like it took forever. Marcus's mind raced with questions. Why would the company owner want to meet with him personally? Had he done something wrong? Maybe the woman he helped had complained about him somehow. The executive floor was unlike anything Marcus had ever seen. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a breathtaking view of Cleveland, and the furniture looked like it belonged in a magazine. Everything was clean, modern, and expensive. Mr. Johnson? A well-dressed assistant approached him with a warm smile. Mrs. Sterling is ready to see you now. Right this way, please. They walked down a hallway lined with awards and photographs of company achievements. Marcus tried to calm his nerves, but his hands were slightly shaking as they approached a set of double doors with Catherine Sterling, CEO, written in elegant lettering. The assistant knocked softly and opened the door. Mrs. Sterling, Marcus. Johnson is here. Send him in, please, came a familiar voice from inside the office. Marcus stepped into the spacious office and froze. Behind an enormous mahogany desk sat the elderly woman he had helped on Monday morning. She looked completely recovered, dressed in an elegant business suit, her silver hair perfectly styled. Her eyes lit up with recognition and genuine warmth when she saw him. Marcus, she said, standing up and walking around her desk. I've been hoping to see you again. Mrs. Sterling, you're You work here? Marcus stammered, still trying to process what was happening. I don't just work here, dear. I own the company. Catherine Sterling smiled at his shocked expression. Please sit down. We have so much to talk about. Marcus remained standing, overwhelmed by the situation. I can't believe this. You're the woman I helped, and you're also the person who was supposed to interview you on Monday morning, yes. Mrs. Sterling gestured to a comfortable chair across from her desk. I always conduct the final interviews for senior positions personally. When you didn't show up, I was disappointed. We had received your resume and were quite impressed with your qualifications. But you were having a heart attack, Marcus said, finally sitting down. How are you feeling? Are you okay? Mrs. Sterling's expression softened. I'm perfectly fine, thanks to you. The doctors said that if I hadn't received help when I did, if someone hadn't given me my medication and kept me calm until the paramedics arrived, I might not have survived. Marcus felt tears welling up in his eyes. I almost didn't stop. I was so worried about missing the interview, about losing this opportunity. My family really needs this job. But you did stop, Mrs. Sterling said firmly. Even though it cost you something important, you chose to help a stranger. Do you know how rare that is in today's world? 3 days passed without any word from Sterling and Associates. Marcus had left 2 messages with the receptionist, trying to explain his absence and reschedule the interview, but no one had called him back. He spent those days taking care of his mother and searching online job boards, though his heart wasn't really in it. On Thursday morning, his phone rang. The caller ID showed a number he didn't recognize. Hello, is this Marcus Johnson? Asked a professional-sounding woman. Yes, this is Marcus. This is Jennifer Walsh from Sterling and Associates. I'm calling about your interview that was scheduled for Monday morning. Marcus's stomach dropped. Here it came, the polite rejection, the closing of a door that had barely been cracked open. I'm so sorry about missing the interview, Marcus began. I tried to call and explain. Mr. Johnson, I'd like you to come in today at 2 p.m. if you're available. There's someone here who specifically wants to meet with you. Marcus was confused. I don't understand. I thought the position might have been filled since I missed my appointment. The position is still open, Mr. Johnson. Can you be here at 2 p.m.? Yes, absolutely. Should I bring anything specific? Just yourself and your resume. And Mr. Johnson? Don't worry about Monday. Sometimes life has other plans for us. After hanging up, Marcus felt a mixture of hope and nervousness. Maybe the woman from Monday had put in a good word for him, or maybe they were just being polite, before officially rejecting him. Either way, he had another chance. He spent the morning preparing, just like before, pressing his suit and rehearsing answers. His mother watched him with quiet pride, offering small pieces of advice between her medical treatments. Remember to look them in the eye, baby, she said. And don't forget to ask good questions, too. Shows you're really interested. The bus ride downtown felt different this time. Marcus kept thinking about the woman he had helped, wondering if she was okay and if she had recovered from her heart attack. He hoped she was back at work, healthy and surrounded by family who appreciated having her around. When Marcus arrived at Sterling and Associates, the building looked just as impressive as it had on Monday, but he felt more confident walking through the glass doors. The receptionist, a young man with a friendly smile, seemed to be expecting him. Marcus Johnson? He asked. Perfect timing. They're ready for you on the 22nd floor. Just take the elevator to the executive level and ask for Mrs. Sterling's office. Marcus's eyebrows shot up. Mrs. Sterling? As in, the Sterling from Sterling and Associates? He had assumed he would be meeting with a middle manager or human resources representative, not the company owner herself. The ambulance arrived in what felt like hours but was actually 7 minutes. Marcus had stayed with the woman the entire time, talking to her softly to keep her conscious and calm. Her breathing had improved slightly after the nitroglycerin, but she was still weak and disoriented. Thank you, she whispered as the paramedics took over. Her voice was so quiet Marcus had to lean close to hear her. What's your name, son? Marcus Johnson, ma'am. Don't worry about that now. Just focus on getting better. The paramedics worked quickly, checking her vital signs and preparing her for transport. One of them, a young woman with kind eyes, looked at Marcus approvingly. "You did exactly the right thing," she said. "The nitroglycerin probably saved her life. Are you family?" "No, I couldn't walk past," Marcus replied. As they loaded the woman into the ambulance, she reached out and grabbed Marcus's hand again. "Sterling and Associates," she said urgently. "I work at Sterling and Associates." Marcus's heart nearly stopped. Of all the companies in downtown Cleveland, this woman worked at the same place where he was supposed to be interviewing right now. It felt like some kind of cosmic joke. That's where I was headed," he said quietly. "What's your name again?" she asked, her voice getting stronger. "Marcus Johnson." Her eyes widened with recognition, but before she could say anything more, the paramedics closed the ambulance doors. Marcus watched as they drove away, sirens wailing, carrying the woman he had chosen to help instead of chasing his own dreams. He looked at his phone. 9:47 a.m. The interview was over before it had even begun. Marcus slowly picked up his briefcase from where he had dropped it on the sidewalk. His carefully prepared resume was still inside, along with all his hopes for a better future. He thought about calling Sterling and Associates to explain what happened, but who would believe such a story? The walk home felt longer than usual. Marcus had to call his mother from a payphone to explain why he wouldn't be bringing home good news. Dorothy Johnson had been so excited about the interview, even though she tried to hide it behind casual questions about what he would wear and whether he had practiced his answers. "I'm proud of you, baby," she said when he told her what happened. "You did the right thing. God sees everything, and He'll make a way for us." But as Marcus climbed the stairs to their small apartment, he wondered if doing the right thing was a luxury his family couldn't afford. The rent notice on their door seemed to mock him as he fumbled for his keys. Marcus was 3 blocks away from Sterling and Associates when he heard the scream. It cut through the morning traffic noise like a knife, desperate and terrified. He looked around and saw an elderly white woman on the sidewalk, her expensive purse scattered around her, pills rolling across the concrete. She was clutching her chest, gasping for air, her face turning an alarming shade of blue. People walked past her, some glancing but not stopping. A few pulled out phones, probably to call 911, but no one was actually helping her. Marcus checked his phone again. 9:15 a.m. He had 15 minutes to get to his interview, and the Sterling building was still 3 blocks away. This interview could change his entire life. His mother needed those medical bills paid. They needed this job, but the woman was clearly having a heart attack and she was alone on a busy sidewalk while people treated her like an inconvenience. Marcus made his decision in less than 3 seconds. He ran to the woman, dropping to his knees beside her. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" he asked, loosening the scarf around her neck to help her breathe. Her eyes were wide with panic, and she grabbed his arm with surprising strength. "Can't breathe," she wheezed. Marcus had learned basic first aid during his community college years when he volunteered at a local clinic. He helped her sit up straighter against a building wall and checked her pulse. It was rapid and irregular. "Someone call 911, he shouted to the crowd of onlookers. Several people nodded but seemed frozen in place. Marcus pulled out his own phone and dialed while keeping one hand on the woman's shoulder to steady her. 911, what's your emergency? The operator answered. I need an ambulance at the corner of Main and 3rd Street. An elderly woman is having what looks like a heart attack, Marcus said quickly, giving the operator more details about her condition. The woman was trying to say something, pointing weakly to her scattered purse. Marcus saw a small medicine bottle among her belongings and quickly retrieved it. Nitroglycerin tablets, heart medication. He helped her take one under her tongue, just like he had seen nurses do with his mother. The ambulance is on its way, Marcus told her gently. Just try to stay calm and breathe slowly. His phone showed 9:22 a.m. The interview was in 8 minutes and he was still blocks away. Marcus felt sick to his stomach, knowing he was about to lose the one opportunity that could save his family's situation. But looking at this frightened woman who reminded him of his own mother, he knew he couldn't leave her alone. Marcus Johnson checked his phone for the 10th time in 5 minutes. The cracked screen showed 8:45 a.m., and his job interview was scheduled for 9:30 a.m. at downtown's biggest marketing firm, Sterling and Associates. He had been unemployed for 8 months, and this interview could change everything for him and his sick mother. The bus lurched through morning traffic as Marcus adjusted his only good tie. He had bought the navy blue suit from a thrift store and spent his last $20 getting it cleaned. His resume was printed on the best paper he could afford, tucked safely in a manila folder that he held like treasure. Marcus had grown up in the rough neighborhoods of East Cleveland, where opportunities were as rare as snow in summer. His mother, Dorothy, had worked 3 jobs to keep him in school, and now she was bedridden with diabetes complications. The medical bills were piling up, and their small apartment's rent was 2 months overdue. This job at Sterling and Associates wasn't just an opportunity, it was salvation. Marcus had studied marketing at community college, graduating with honors despite working nights at a gas station. He had applied to dozens of companies, but Sterling was the first to call him back. The salary they mentioned would cover his mother's medications and maybe even help them move to a better neighborhood. As the bus approached downtown, Marcus rehearsed his answers one more time. He had prepared for every possible question, researched the company's history, and even practiced his handshake in the mirror. His palms were sweaty, but his determination was rock solid. The bus stopped at 5th Street, still 6 blocks from Sterling and Associates. Marcus calculated he had 30 minutes to walk there, find the building, and compose himself before the interview. He stepped off the bus, briefcase in hand, ready to fight for his future. The morning air was crisp, and downtown Cleveland was already buzzing with business people heading to their offices. Marcus felt out of place among the expensive suits and confident strides, but he kept walking. He belonged here too, even if his shoes were resoled and his briefcase was borrowed from his neighbor. As he turned onto Main Street, Marcus saw the gleaming Sterling and Associates building in the distance. 22 floors of glass and steel that represented everything he wanted to achieve. He quickened his pace, mentally preparing for what could be the most important conversation of his life. The weight of his family's struggles pressed on his shoulders, but Marcus refused to let it slow him down. Today would be different. Today would be the beginning of a new chapter for the Johnson family.